When was the last time you had like just incredible food poisoning? Like the kind that really that changes your life?
Um, it was last year. I'm trying to remember what did it. I think it was a place I went to eat in Boston, but the most recent one was when I upped my dose of GLP-1 shots from like 5 to 7.5. That fucking it wasn't food poisoning, but it was the same symptoms. It just nuked my body.
What what
That was
what is
wild.
that?
That's like an Ozempic, like a shot that gives you the weight loss hormones.
Right, right.
Oh my God, did
Yeah.
that the side effects of that shot, including what you're going through now, on top of a bunch of other things, that was crazy. So I dropped my dosage back down because it was just like it was unlivable.
Yeah.
It was just shockingly bad.
Was it like you couldn't keep food down?
I couldn't like get food, like it felt like food was just lodged in my throat all the time, and when I tried to go to bed, I would like throw up in my sleep, and like everything just made me shit like crazy, and it was just oh my God, it
I'm
was a fucking nightmare, dude.
so sorry. That's terrible.
That was crazy. So back on a normal dosage, but yeah,
Yeah.
for a while, for a month there, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, that sounds damn, dude. That's cuz like I maybe I mean, this is good. This is giving me a fresh perspective on my current condition that
Sure,
perhaps I've just been spoiled by having cuz I am highly regular typically.
sure.
I'm like I poop little gold bricks with my initials on them. And now it's been I think when I initially texted you about it when we were on our trip we were in Massachusetts after the gallery,
Hmm.
that was what day was that? Sunday?
I think so. Yeah, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, it's just been me pooping since then. Like
Damn, dude, it must have really like fucked with your gut bacteria. Like it sounds like you've got some long haul symptoms from that.
yeah, and I don't know if it's food poisoning or a stomach bug. I and like so
At this point, I don't think it's food poisoning. If it's more than 24 hours, it's not usually food poisoning.
that's fair. I did one time I had really bad food poisoning when I was in my 20s, and I remember it actually took it took like 2 weeks before I could eat normal food again because there was literally like E. coli or something. I remember like shaking and throwing up and like for days. But this is more just like it's just awful. It's just like yeah. So I'm assuming it's a stomach bug because it's not. I'm not vomiting or anything. I just it's just all. I don't want to. I don't want to shock the audience too
No,
much
I
because
understand,
they
man.
click on a drawing stream and it's just this guy talking about how his asshole keeps exploding.
That's how I made my millions. No, I'm
that's,
just kidding.
that's yeah. Talking about poop is how I paid for my boat.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But even like you can hear it in my voice. Like my voice sounds really hoarse, kind of like I'm just
You've been through it.
yeah. And like I'm looking a little better today. But yesterday I was looking gaunt. I look like when you watch in the in the movies when they use
Yeah.
CGI to make it look like the actor's been starving.
You're Doc Holliday, and I'm visiting you in the bed. How you doing, Doc?
Live, Dan, live for me.
Gonna have to.
Yeah. And then you're gonna give me that. What is that thing he gives him in bed? He gives him like a little certificate that says "My friend Doc
It says
Holliday."
my friend Doc Holliday. Yeah, that always made me laugh. I'm like, where did you get that made in 1865, dude? Like,
Yeah,
what are we, whatever fucking year that was?
yeah. This is Wyatt Earp going on Fiverr to find an illustrator to
I
do it for him.
know. Went down to the local illustrator shop and asked him to make me a certificate. Like, who did you find? What?
He had to find like a
Mom?
notary like four towns over.
I know. I'm like, what is this?
Hey, what's up, Sebastian? By the way, sorry I should have acknowledged you, but I was too busy talking about diarrhea.
Yeah, yeah.
He
And
says that's a strong way to start a stream. You're right.
priorities.
Yeah, I mean it was I was initially blaming this Thai restaurant, but maybe I shouldn't because maybe it's a bug. Yeah.
I've gotten food poisoning from Thai restaurants before too, and there's usually one of two things that does it. It's either a food you're not used to, in which case it's not really food poisoning, it's just your gut bacteria having a revolution, or it's sometimes it's the
Sometimes.
veggies. Sometimes it's the veggies. Sometimes they prep veggies and let them sit out a little too long.
Oh.
Cuisine that uses a lot of fresh vegetables, like Thai food, some Indian food,
Mm-hmm.
not so much Chinese, Japanese, but ones that are some Mexican food too, that use a lot of fresh vegetables. When they prep them and let them sit, sometimes they develop bacteria. Like if there's a lot of like green onion, stuff like that, stuff that's very, very delicate that they make in advance. That's a number one culprit.
Well, I did have a lot of vegetables with my dish, as one does when having Asian cuisine. It's very
Yeah,
vegetable heavy.
yeah,
Um,
that's usually what it is.
but
It's not.
do you think that would have caused this though? On it, I did like
I think you have a stomach bug
yeah,
now. I don't think it's just food poisoning. If it's been this long, this has been almost, it's been like 5 days. Like it's definitely food poisoning flushes your system. It's like a stomach sneeze essentially.
yeah,
But yeah, this sounds like your body is dealing with something more severe.
yeah. Well,
But
I'm going to leave you a couple of things in my will, so I hope
all
those
right, buddy, great. Excited,
some of
excited to
it
see what I get.
some of it's going to shock you.
I'm sure it will.
It's going to be like Nicolas Cage in 8 mm, where he goes into that room.
Yeah. Did I even know him?
Did I even know?
Who is this guy I've been talking to?
Yeah.
He
How
wasn't capable of this.
how are you, man? How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. It's been a weird one. I usually shy away from talking about personal stuff. That's kind of my thing on streams, but I'm onboarding a fairly strong antidepressant this week, and I'm right at the 1 week mark. And for most people, it takes about two to regulate.
Hmm.
So it's like, think of it like a mountain. The first week is climbing it, then you're at the summit. Then the second week, you kind of come back down the mountain and you level out.
Yeah.
I'm right at the peak, and it's crazy. It's crazy to have a bunch of feelings and to be like, those aren't real. You just gotta ignore them and
Whoa.
just like get through your day. Just feel like, well, that's the drug making you feel this way. You just have to
Yeah.
kind of like look away from the monster in the closet and be like, no, it's not real. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
hang
You're
out.
like in the third act of the Babadook. You're just like feeding it in your
Yeah.
cellar.
What I've
Um,
been doing is just working as much as I can to stay busy. And then when it gets to the point where I'm like exhausted, I've just been mainlining Deep Space Nine.
dude,
Um,
yeah, how good is Star Trek in a tough time, man?
oh man, dude, Deep Space Nine, dude, such a good show.
Yeah.
Such a good show. I'm so happy. Just coincidentally, when I started rewatching it last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, Red Letter Media decided to put out their Deep Space Nine retrospectives. I was like, oh, that's great. That's great because I've always wanted. They talked about it before, but they've never done a formal thing with it.
Yeah, they always focused on next gen as their
Yeah,
understandably, but I would love to hear them talk about Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine is my personal favorite. I haven't seen Voyager and I haven't seen Enterprise, but I've seen the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I think we talked about this. I would say that Deep Space Nine is probably technically a better show than Next Generation in terms of like everyone is a really good actor and like the they don't have the same problem with the first two seasons being super awkward.
Right.
I still feel like Next Gen, it's just such a warm blanket that I still probably
Oh
find
yeah.
to be my favorite. But Deep Space Nine, when I watch it, it feels almost like you're watching like a high quality like HBO drama to some extent. You
Oh
know?
yeah. It's very much like TNG is like it's a where are we going show, and Deep Space Nine is like a who are we show. It's like everything is about the characters struggling with identity and like ethical quandaries about themselves, not so much like TNG is like we found a thing and it presents an ethical quandary and what are we going to do to do the right thing. So that it grapples with that kind of thing, but it's always exterior. It's always we found this crazy new species or we found this planet that's in trouble. Do we help it? We encountered this phenomenon. Like, do we, what do we do? Deep Space Nine is like, I used to be a terrorist and I killed a bunch of innocent people, and now I'm trying to be a good person and be a police officer. And like, do I deserve that? Or it's like, oh, I'm a guy who was sent here basically as a colonial project, and I found out that I'm actually, space Jesus. And like, what do I do about being the prophet? And like, how do I manage my my existence inside this academy that's very, non-religious, with the fact that I'm essentially talking to what these people think is a god, and these, like all these really cool
Hmm.
things, like Odo realizing, I'm part of an evil race, and like, how does that define me, and what do I do with that? And uh, Quark, obviously great. My entire thing is greed and fucking people over, but starts to question that and grow a little. I think Kira and Cisco are probably the two. Kira's straight up a terrorist, and it's like, okay, in any other show, automatically that means you're the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Deep Space Nine, it's very much like, no, we're gonna really dive into this, and it's great. I don't know. I think I talked about this with you before. I can't think of two characters in Star Trek I like more than Gul Dukat and Garrick. For some reason, those two characters are there's so many layers. It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
every other character I can think of, even really good ones, like Picard's a great character, but there's not a lot of layers. He's just like, yeah, I'm a diplomat. I'm very ethical. I've got a little bit of history with this and that in my past, but like, this is very much my thing. Garrick and Gul Dukat, it's like watching Dukat descend completely into madness and like understanding it. Like it doesn't feel like a cheap TV thing that he just becomes this insane sociopathic dude.
Yeah.
I feel like you follow him on that journey, and just figuring out over 7 seasons the depth of like Garrick and this existence inside this weird KGB-esque non-reality he's had to construct, and like it's just great. It's such good character writing. But
I think there's a reason for that. I think there's a reason that Next Gen doesn't do that and that Deep Space Nine does. I think Next Gen was at the like turning point of network TV where
Yeah.
because it's like Next Gen. I mean, even the the first two seasons, which were the awkward ones, had some of the writers from the original show,
Yeah.
and you can see that there's like a very different focus in like old school classic kind of, for the lack of a better terms, like Silver Age television, which is like
Mhm.
the idea is almost like the Indiana Jones thing where like your hero doesn't really change. He's constant.
Yep.
And you can see some of that in like Data is inquisitive, Geordi is kind, Picard is righteous, Riker is a flirt, he's ambitious, like, and everybody just kind of generally sticks to those things. There's no long-term changes for those characters. And that was quite normal up until you get to the late 90s, early 2000s, and then there's like a different expectation where it's like you actually,
Prestige TV. Yeah.
and I think that might be why. Because I think when Deep Space Nine came out, I think it was like you can tell that they were trying to do something that they had not done before in Star Trek.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I don't know how true this is. I know they mentioned it on Red Letter Media. I'm assuming it's true. I think a lot of it has to do with Gene Roddenberry passing away.
Yes, probably.
Because I guess he had a rule that was like characters can't have drama with each other, and if they do, it has to be because of like an alien force possessing them or something. But like in my future, mankind has become peaceful, so no character drama.
Well,
And it's like,
apparently he said that, but then he recanted after the first season or something of Star Trek. He like of Next Gen.
okay,
He said that initially, and then they were like, "We literally can't write stories without
we
conflict."
don't know what to do. We don't know what to do, Gene.
And but they found a good middle ground where the characters have conflict, but they're so much more evolved and yada yada.
Yeah,
So I think they found a good middle ground. I really respect his vision that he was so doggedly optimistic about the future.
yeah, it's great, especially considering what he lived through in the time period the original series came out. The whole idea of everyone's going to work together someday is a cool way to go, considering the environment that you started in.
Yeah, meaning like because he was in the
Oh God, it was like he saw what were, I think he was alive for World War II, and then McCarthy, and then obviously the '60s is when
Vietnam
the
era.
show
Yeah,
came out, the Cold War, you know, all that stuff is very, very present.
it hit just the right buttons when it came out that it was giving people that
Yeah, it's
know.
like obviously in the mirror universe, everybody's got like very obvious,
Goatees.
little Lenin beards. Like we're very clearly we're all communists. Like it's not even subtle.
That's so funny. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It also kind of has a vaguely like, oh, they're pirates, and because they're pirates now, they're like,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah. No, I would say that I would say that his while I understand that him passing away and them having more creative freedom did lead to probably better writing in that show. Do you think that in the long term, the lack of that the distance between Star Trek and the original vision of it over time has like degraded it?
I think so. It depends on what you consider the original vision, because if you go back and you watch, like, my mom was obsessed with TOS when I was a kid. That show was always on. If I was home, she was always watching it. It was that or The Munsters. And it's like, and The Munsters is like my favorite show of all time.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
like literally, it's the greatest. But he was always watching TOS, and at the time as a kid, yeah, I knew that it was a sci-fi thing. They go to planets and there's aliens and there's Klingons and Mr. Spock and whatever. But then when she would watch it, it's like we're on a 1920s planet and everyone's a gangster. We're in Nazi Germany and he's falling in love with a defector. I'm like, what is this show? And like, I know now as an adult, it's because they were trying to save money and use sets they already had on the Paramount lot.
Hmm.
Like, what can we do with these Gatling guns and zoot suits and stuff we have hanging around? And but as a kid I was like, this show's really silly. And like, I think so there's two or three different modes you can go in for like what's the original vision. If the original vision is we're going to go out and explore, and through exploring we're going to discover more about ourselves, I think that's probably the most present in TNG. That's like a really good crystallization of that. I think if you're going for the variety of, like, sometimes it's going to be silly, sometimes it's going to be very dramatic, sometimes it's going to be the exploration stuff, I think Deep Space Nine has a little more of a balance of those things. But it really depends too, because like there's, I don't know, the first few seasons of TNG are like hilariously different than the latter seasons.
Yeah.
Like, what's the one where Tasha dies to like a black puddle? And he's just like, I'm evil. And she's like, but there must be good in you somewhere. And he's like, no. And he
Yeah,
just kills it.
it's called
There
I believe
isn't.
it's called the Skin of Evil.
Skin of evil. Yeah.
Um,
That's one of
and
my favorite episodes
but
because it's
do you
just
know
like,
the
no.
premise of it? The premise of it, I remember it being kind of interesting, which is that
Let me guess.
go ahead.
Was it a race of aliens, like, filtered out all their negative emotions like a coffee filter, and he was essentially the coffee filter? He was like a sentient coffee filter full of bad thoughts or
He
something.
is you're almost there. He's not the coffee filter.
Yeah.
He is the things that were filtered out. So he's not the
Oh,
filter.
okay.
He's the human detritus essentially.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I like that premise a lot. I love that he's irredeemable, because so much of TNG is like, no, there's good in you, and we just don't understand, and we're
yeah,
gonna. And he's like, no, just evil. There's nothing good.
yeah, and I like that. That's like a big part of what Picard has to come to terms with is like because they have this evolved utopian future. He's like, no, some things are just evil, and the
Yeah.
universe is full of that. So like,
And
while
I
I do
think they
like that,
just did they just leave? Is that the resolution? He's like, well, we can't kill it, and it's evil. So
yeah,
I guess we're just gonna go.
it's so anticlimactic after everything that he's
Yeah.
just like, oh, he leaves, but they kind of give it a resolution where he's like, but you will be abandoned, and we're going to put out things to let everybody know that this is not a safe place, and you'll be
Oh, it's
here
great.
forever in eternity. And he's like, no, the loneliness, but it's like, I don't know. Yeah, do you know why she got killed off? It's because she was like,
She was gonna leave the show because she was being treated. I think it was a combination of she was being treated like shit, and she wanted a bigger, like, she
yeah.
wanted her character to have more stuff going on.
I think that may have been a little bit of cope because according to a few people that it was because she left because she thought she was going to be a movie star because she had a couple of movies come out that
Yes,
year,
I've heard that too. Yeah, I've heard that too.
which is
And
why,
then
yeah, go ahead.
they bring her back in a fairly creative way. If you're okay with multiverse shenanigans, they bring her back in a pretty interesting way as a villain.
She plays her own daughter, who's half
Yeah,
Romulan, who's raised in ultra dimension. It's I don't
yeah.
remember the exact details, but it's nuts.
Okay, so there's an alternate timeline where Tasha Yar's alive, and the ship she's on has to win a battle, and the battle they win is what creates peace between the Klingons and the Federation. And the only person who realizes they're in the wrong timeline is Guinan, I think. And she's like, "Yo, Tasha, this isn't the right timeline. You have to die. You have to die, or there's going to be this giant war." and tons of people are going to die. So
Yeah.
she's like, okay. And then she sacrifices herself. Then there's a double twist later where she doesn't die. She gets taken hostage by the Romulans, and she
Right.
gets like raped by a general, and then her like baby from that becomes the new character she's playing.
Yep.
It's fucking it's unhinged. It's such a weird way to bring her back.
Yeah,
but
like why would you want to do that to this character? You like resurrect her just to make her a sex slave? It's like that is awful.
it's also really, really dark, because I think when they first introduced Tasha, they're like, Tasha, what's your home planet like? And she's like, well, it's full of rape gangs that go door to door raping everybody. And like, that's the fate she ended up with.
Yeah.
It's crazy dark.
I don't know why they were so contemptuous of her character. She was such a likable character too. It's just like
it's so weird.
But I want to address Eric in the chat who says this is maybe my favorite thing anybody's ever said on one of my streams. He says the feeling when you've been watching Dan and Ryan talk for so long that you distinctly remember the last time they had specifically this exact conversation.
There you go. Yeah. We need to go to Star Wars. I think this is one of our first Star Treks.
No, we've talked Star Trek before, but I think we've done so much of it off stream that we're like kind of forgetting when we're doing it on stream or not.
It's all blending together.
Yeah, but
man,
sorry, go on though.
TNG's a wild ride. What's the other villain who's hilarious? Is his name Nagilum? He's a big space face.
Your memory for the names is much better than mine. A lot of the Star Trek names start to blend together in my head.
I think it's Nagilum, and he looks like a bad guy from Star Fox 64. He's just a big face. They shoot lasers at him. That's the episode with the meme where the guy starts shaking and holding his head, and and he like has the brain hemorrhage thing.
Oh, from is this from DS9 or from?
No, it's just from TNG.
This is from TNG.
Yeah.
I've seen every episode, but I'm there's so many episodes where somebody shakes uncontrollably. It's all like there's another one where that happens where there's a guy who he's an expert negotiator, and they need him to come back and act as like a moderator, so they de-age him because he's like 100 years old. And
that's a good one.
And at the end, when he's like reaching the end of the negotiations, as he's like aging back to his real age, he's like shaking and sweating, and it's like, can you imagine having to film that where you just have to make your head shake like the whole time? Yeah.
There's the great one where Picard has to shake when they're in they're frozen the very second the warp core breaches and it's exploding, and he makes the little smiley face in the cloud, and then he goes, ah! It's such a specific yell. Ah! And he just shakes uncontrollably.
So Patrick Stewart of that show, for me, he's got like two modes. He's either acting incredibly, like he's either being a Shakespearean master, or he's completely phoning it in because he thinks he's better than this. And you can see when he's doing it, like one of my favorite bits of performance is when he has the flashback of when the Nausicaan stabbed him in the heart.
Oh yeah, that's in what, Tapestry?
Yeah, and he starts laughing, and he has that weird laugh where he's like been stabbed, and he's like, "Oh well, you know." Yeah, it's so good. And then there's other episodes after that in the final season where you can tell he was mentally checked out, and he's just like does not give a shit. It's like scenes where the entire like people in his crew have died, and you just look at Patrick Stewart's face, and he looks like he's just like watching Sally Jesse Raphael. Like he's just like, he's like bemused.
I'm gonna collect my royalties for the rest of my life off this.
Yeah. Did you see that meme that went around, by the way, of the guy who, one of the kids who got eaten in Jaws? He's like 50 something now, and he was able to retire based purely on the royalties from Jaws.
That's crazy. That's crazy that kid who gets eaten got enough royalties. That's nuts. He's in that movie for 10 seconds.
Yeah, but I'm assuming the royalties that were negotiated for him were a little above average because he has to interact with the props and special effects, and
True. Deep Space Nine. I'm in season 6, my favorite season. So it's gonna be over soon. But man, what a great show. I just watched the episode last night where Gul Dukat completely breaks from reality and becomes a complete megalomaniacal psychopath, and he's giving the huge speech. I'll kill all of them, and blah blah. No one's gonna save them. And he's like talking to all the people that aren't really there, and He's
Yeah.
completely lost it. It's great. It's such a good character descending into complete madness. And you're
Well,
like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I also really like when Cisco has moments of being like morally gray to some extent.
Oh, like when he wipes out the Maquis planet.
Yeah, and he's just
And
like,
my favorite is in the pale moonlight with the thing with him and Garrick where Garrick assassinates the dude and Cisco's like, you killed him, and he's like, yes, I did. That's why you came to me, isn't it? To do those things you couldn't do. And he just keeps punching him. You killed him.
yeah, I do like the idea that within the Federation there's like special ops kind of that
Yeah.
there's people you need to do wet work sometimes.
It's great. I love man, there's this thing. I don't actually love this. I think it's funny, but there's this thing Avery Brooks, the guy that plays Cisco, does sometimes, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something he picked up and when he was an actor on like stage plays. Occasionally, he'll give speeches like this with his deep voice and very commanding, and I am going to deliver this with breaths in between all my words for emphasis. And then in the next scene, he'll be talking to his son Jake, and he'll do this thing where it's almost like a Muppet voice, and he'll be like, "Hello, Jake." And I'm like, what is this? What do you like? These two voices are so opposite. Hello. Oh, I'm making my father's jambalaya. And I'm like, what is this delivery? What are you doing?
Yeah. And he's someone also who's like, I think it's like he's so charismatic as an actor that he's almost like trying to see what he can get away with.
Yeah, that might be it. Because I legitimately, man, the different voices he does they feel like completely different characters.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen interviews with him in recent years where it's like, why did you stop acting? He's like, oh, I don't really need to do it. He's like, I like my job, and he's just like, never really had this desire, from what I can tell, to be this like household name, even though he probably could have, based purely
That's
on his,
funny.
you know.
I mean, he's probably like just from the royalties of the show. I mean, it's been in syndication for what, 30 years?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely doesn't need to act anymore. He'd only be doing it if he was really passionate about it.
yeah. I think he teaches. He's a teacher, I believe. He might teach acting even,
That's cool.
which
I
is
know they're talking about doing a revival of it like they did with the Picard show, but I almost hope they don't.
yeah.
I kind of like the ending where he goes away and we don't really know what happens to him, and maybe he ascended to the fourth dimension and maybe he didn't.
I don't think I've ever seen the ending actually.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I've watched all of Deep Space Nine.
I mean, do you care if I spoil it?
You can tell me.
He joins the prophets in the wormhole, and it's assumed that he's dead, but no one can confirm if he's dead or not because he now exists in the fourth dimension outside of linear time. And he says he'll come back for Jake someday, but nobody knows when that is because time doesn't mean anything to him anymore.
I lost an uncle the same way.
There you go. It's very poignant.
It's relatable, yeah.
Very, very poignant.
Well, so you appreciate that ending though.
I like the ambiguity of it. I like the idea that he starts the show with like, religion's dumb. It's a thing that, we've evolved past as humans, but these Bajorans, they believe in these prophets. I like that slowly over the course of the show, things are happening to him and he's like, okay, well, something is clearly going on here, and like they might not be gods like uppercase G, but like they clearly exist outside of time and they have powers of foresight because time doesn't really exist the same way. And he realizes that he's connected to them, or as the show goes on, at the end of it, it's kind of this weird acceptance. Like there's not a lot of happy endings at the end of the show, and I like it a lot. Like Odo realizes that he will die if he doesn't go back to the Dominion, so he leaves. He goes back and he joins them. And Cisco realizes that his destiny is to be the emissary, and he goes into the black hole and abandons his kid and his family and does what he has to do. And
Well,
there's a lot of weird, bittersweet endings, and I like that a lot.
yeah. Which is whereas Next Gen, as much as I do like that final episode, other than that, it doesn't really have an ending. It doesn't like
Yeah,
the characters don't end in a different place. Because again, I think the show, it's almost like parts of the show were designed for syndication.
Yeah, it wasn't designed for them to have arcs. It wasn't supposed to be one big story where the people evolve and change. So it's you can kind of put on any episode of TNG in any order, and it all kind of works. Aside from a couple like benchmark things, like we're introducing this new character who's now around. But yeah, I don't know. I like the end. I think the last shot of Deep Space Nine is Jake looking out the window at the wormhole, and he's just alone, which is like extra bad because they do that episode earlier in the series where Jake is an old man on Earth and he's recounting the story about how he lost his dad and he had to live his whole life without a father and how it fucked him up. And that's essentially what ends up happening to him in the actual canon ending, just in a different way. But it's, yeah, I don't know. I like it a lot. I like that all of the stories are resolved in a way that makes sense, but aren't necessarily the happy endings.
That's pretty interesting. Honestly, that's not what I would have expected.
Yeah, it's man, you should finish it sometime if you haven't. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Well,
I think
if I'm doing that, I'm gonna probably start off from the beginning.
yeah, it's worth it. It's not as rough in the early seasons as some of the other series.
Well, Next Generation, I made the mistake of recommending it to a friend without telling them to like maybe skip season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But then, okay. So two of my friends, you met my friends at the wedding, Nick and Reed. Reed is interested in Star Trek, so I was telling him, this is like years ago, I was like, yeah, dude, you should definitely watch it. He starts with Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah.
Right. And so my other friend Nick is like, why would you tell him to start an Encounter at Farpoint? Like what he was talking to me like I was a doctor that almost killed somebody by giving them the wrong medication. And I was like, well, I think it's a great episode. He was like, it's not. It's a great concept, and in the long run, it's a good start to the show. But if you look at it on its own merits, it's like a really sloppy, And I was like, I don't know if I agree. I think it's like a legitimately great. I think the costumes are really cool, especially the way Q comes out.
It's starting a video game with the final boss. Like the episode is literally, "Hi, I'm God. My name's Q. I can do anything."
Yeah.
Welcome to this new show. I don't know how you go up from here. Hello, I'm God. And they're like, oh, okay. And I like Encounter at Farpoint, but I think I like it more in retrospect, where it's like now that I know who Q is from future stuff, I can go back and have more fun with it. But it's also a two-parter, isn't it?
It is. It is a very long start to a show. But you get some great introductions. You get the first time Data meets Riker. That's how we introduce him when he's in the.
Good.
Go ahead.
When he's still calling him Pinocchio.
Yeah, yeah, which is like super disrespectful. But it's like when they're in the holodeck and Q just jumps down from the tree or whatever, and he's like, "Hello."
It's great. It's got one of my favorite scenes, which we have talked about on String before, which is the Mankind on trial and the. World War III tribunal with the weird bio soldiers and mutant people.
Yeah.
It's great.
It is great.
I understand why you recommended it. I get it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that someone can understand why I did that, because I've had to defend that decision for a while.
I watched the whole show in order and I don't regret doing it because you get to see how much better it gets. I guess it would be funny to start with the really good episodes and then go back and see like the pulp nonsense that the first two seasons are. But like, yeah, I don't know. I watched it in order and I was like, oh, okay. It was fun watching them like kind of figure out on the page who the characters are in real time. Yeah. Where it's like, there's pretty dramatic shifts, even with like Data, who's like, you'd think would be one note. They like pretty dramatically change how they present him. He's like, pretty annoying in the first season. He's like, a human thing. I was like, okay, dude, like,
yeah, and you
less charming and more arrogant.
Yeah. He like literally will at some point blatantly express his superiority.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny seeing them realize in real time, like, oh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, it doesn't work for his character. Also because it gets way too close to Spock, and I think a lot of that is because you had the old school writers kind of doing the same thing as the original show. That Spock, because then they were like, oh no, this is a way more interesting direction. Is that the main difference between Data and Spock is that Spock has a bit of contempt for human traits, and Data wants to be more human, and that's where they're different.
Yes.
Even it's like.
There's that great line in the episode, what is it? The it's the one where Spock has to sneak onto Romulus to try and negotiate peace.
Hmm.
It's the one they wrote when Gene Roddenberry died. I think it's called like Reunion or something.
It's one of my
But
favorite episodes. It's amazing.
and I think Data says to Spock, because Spock's like, I finally did the Kolinar or whatever it's called, and he's like, I've gotten rid of all my emotions and I'm finally free. And Data's like, oh, it's ironic. Like the thing you've been trying your whole life to get rid of is the thing that I've spent my entire existence trying to attain. And it's like, oh, it's great. It's great. The writers just put that there in bold font. It wasn't subtle at all.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's I think if they had done it now, it would have been much more subtle. But I think at the time they were like, it's almost like they were not sure everybody would remember because in network TV, it's like not everybody has the VHS tapes and to remember so they're like trying to call back other episodes. But I love that episode a lot. Like I love that they resolve a storyline that starts in like the original show, like 20 something 30 years earlier. It's so cool.
I also like the weird relationship that they give Picard with Spock, because Picard in one episode has to hold on to Sarek's emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sarek's getting like Vulcan dementia and he has to go negotiate this thing, and the only way to do it is for Picard to like hold on to his negative feelings while he goes into this meeting.
That's
to,
like, a crazy episode.
It's great because at one point when he's having the breakdown, he starts like hyperventilating and crying, and he's like, Spock, my boy. And you're like, oh my God. It's like all this repressed emotions. And then later on he meets him and he's like, hi, Spock. I knew your dad. It's like understatement of the millennia.
Yeah, it's like, me and your dad were extremely intimate. Like, no, it was, for me as a nerd, it was like really cool to see Picard even talk about Spock. Because it's like those are two different, not timelines, but time zones, I guess. If you notice that every time Spock or any of the original cast show up in the new show, they're very dodgy with the dialogue about expressing whether or not Kirk was alive.
Oh yeah.
They use very evasive language because they're like, we're not sure if we're going to be able to get we might be able to get William Shatner on here, so we have to wait.
Very cagey.
They're like, oh yes, back when I served with Kirk, and then they're like, yeah, and then he just because they could come up with any sort of science fiction reason why he's alive, like they did with Scotty, where Scotty shows up and it's the whole episode's about him being a boomer who can't use 24th century technology, which was sad.
I think Scotty even asks about Kirk, and I think they just say like that was 200 years ago, but they don't like say like, oh, he's dead. They're just like, that was a long time ago, dude.
Yeah
It's very funny. And then they put Kirk into Deep Space Nine with that weird episode where they used the old footage from the show from the 60s.
Okay, I will defend that episode because I really like how they cleaned up the Klingon lore, where they're like, why do you look different? And then Worf is like, it was a shameful time in our history where we experimented with genetic tampering. It's like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like,
yeah, it's great. I love all the episodes of Deep Space Nine with that. They're basically the Three Musketeers, but it's three old Klingon generals from the original series.
Yeah.
Koloth and Kang and whatever his name is, and they're like, we're gonna go on these Viking adventures in space. And three old Klingon men who just want to burn everything down. Basically, it's great.
I'm getting amped just thinking about it.
It's funny because as a kid, I mean, my mom loved TOS and I would watch it when I was a kid, so I had nostalgia for that. But when I was like, I don't know, 9, 10 through teenage years, I just assumed Star Trek. I mean, it probably was for my age at the time. I was like, this is the most boring shit on the planet. Like, I can't watch Star Trek's it's just the most boring show. It's just like space diplomacy. I don't know where that thought came from. I remember talking to Dave about it in high school and being like, Star Trek is just so like TNG and all that stuff. So fucking boring. Like I want Star Wars. I don't want this. And now as an adult, I'm like, man, like, I don't know. I think I just didn't have the patience to sit down and like invest in like a really slow world building experience like that.
Well, Dan, I'm going to share something with you. This is going to be like my single white female moment where I creep the crap out of it. I remember starting my career drawing and listening to you and Dave on some stream, but this is before I even knew who either of you were. You were just these two random guys talking while somebody painted a knight. I was like, what is even going on? It's also like the early days of me even having the internet. And I remember you at that point, I didn't know who you were, and you were just talking about how boring Star Trek was.
Yeah,
And I
that's definitely a conversation we had.
and I remember being like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yep.
I remember being
Little did
like,
I know.
I was like, I'm gonna keep listening because I find these guys pretty funny. But I was like, I don't know how. I was like, listen. You gotta appreciate it for what it is. I was like, it's saying in my head, and then like here we are, 140 years later, and after you watch Deep Space Nine.
It's only because of Mike Stacklasa at Red Letter Media, because he did those Star Wars videos on why the prequels were so bad, and I was like, oh my god, somebody like took this thing I was feeling and put it into words that summarized it perfectly. So then I started watching all their stuff, and I was like, man, I agree with like 90% of his movie takes. This is wild. And then he was like, yeah, my favorite thing ever is Star Trek, and it's the greatest thing of all time. And I'm like, well, if he thinks that, and he has taste that's that close to mine, I should probably give it a shot. And it's only because of Red Letter Media that I even started watching it.
I love
I love it now.
I love that Red Letter Media. I love that Mr. Plinkett was like the first time you heard the Beatles. That it was like it was that
Yeah, it's
for you.
great. Did you see the thing? So they put out their Deep Space Nine video, the first one they ever did on Deep Space Nine last week.
Mm-hmm.
They end it by saying like everybody should go watch Deep Space Nine. Everyone should go watch it. We're gonna basically talk about all the seasons, and then the next day, Paramount Plus sent out an email saying we're upping our subscription fee.
Oh,
And they even posted on their Patreon, Red Letter Media, they were like, comedy, it's all about timing. It was a screenshot of that email. It's 100% their fault. It's great though.
yeah. Oh, because they probably got an influx of subscriptions. You think, and then they were like, we can.
For sure. Someone at Paramount was like, oh, because Paramount follows them, like because they got in a huge fight with William Shatner a couple
Oh, I
years
remember.
ago.
It was
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all those execs follow them because they have so much sway over that audience. But it's very funny. It's very funny to see that someone was watching and they were like, "We got to up the fee." They're telling everybody to go watch Deep Space Nine, and it's only available on our platform. We gotta make some money.
It's crazy that they're watching Red Letter Media and yet they're like not really taking much of their notes. Because they've been very critical of new Star Trek, rightly so, and like it feels like they're.
Yeah.
But I think some of that's because the writers of the new stuff are just not capable of being better. Like I don't think that they have it in them. Like I don't know that they're able.
No, definitely don't. All the people that are holdovers from like Lost and those shows, like they don't have. Number one, they don't have the respect for the source material to like get the tone right, and number two, they're very much only trying to do big Hollywood spectacle on the small screen, which is not. Everything has to be epic all the time, huge battles and
Yeah.
epic, and everything has to be funny, and all the characters have to be quirky, and the tone is very much all the new stuff, all the jokes they write. It feels like that weird era of like I fucking love science. It's just stuck in that,
Yeah.
and it won't like everyone has to be quirky. Everyone has to be quirky and likable. There can't be any moral gray areas or anything. Or it's either that or it's insanely epic. It has to be the most epic. It's 20 Borg cubes and everyone's dead. That's crazy. It's so boring. It's so boring.
Yeah. Well, there's this thing that happens where it's like, someone was talking about new Star Trek, new Star Wars, and I think it's relevant to new Star Trek as well, which is that they said they said Star Wars is not about anything anymore. It's just about itself.
Yeah.
Like it's just about referencing itself. It's about like, oh, remember the last time we did this? Now we're going to do it bigger and more. And that's kind of what new Star Trek is too. It's like it's not about anything. It's not about philosophical quandaries or humanism or anything. It's just about Star Trek. It's about the last. It's like This is like the other Star Trek, but look at how much now we have more Borg. We have all. It's like it's not
more stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that comes from a kind of I don't know. There's like a creative dead end, a creative bedrock we've hidden where like,
I'm interested to see what happens with Star Wars in the next 5 years because Kathleen Kennedy is out and Dave Filoni is now in charge of the ship, which is a pretty massive change. Because Dave Filoni is a writer who has bent over backwards to make sense of all the stuff that doesn't make sense and put it in context. Like he's essentially, his entire career has been let's take these things that people don't super like and find a way to make people like them. Like people didn't like the prequels that much. Okay, I'm gonna make Clone Wars show and I'm gonna make Ahsoka and I'm gonna make all this stuff and really flesh it out and get people to like it. Oh, people didn't like the sequel trilogy. Okay, I'm gonna make The Mandalorian and I'm gonna, start to invest in the space between the two stories and try to make sense out of why Palpatine's back and Baby Yoda and like I'm interested to see what he does with it now that he has the last say. Because I think if that Mandalorian and Grogu movie bombs, they're gonna probably push him aside pretty quick. I think a lot's riding on that for him personally,
yeah.
but I don't know. I hope he gets a decent chance. I hope they give him at least a couple tries to really start a new thing. Because what do you, man? It's just I don't know. It's such a huge IP that has just been stuck in the wrong gear for so long, and he's very clearly someone who likes it a lot.
Well, I have some controversial hot takes on this.
Sure. On Filoni?
Yes, I expect they will be controversial among the 5 people watching.
Sure.
I don't think much is going to change at all.
Okay.
And I don't personally think I don't know if I think Filoni's overrated or if he's just completely lost the plot, because there's been projects where he's been in charge completely and I haven't liked those things much more than Kathleen Kennedy stuff.
Sure.
And people have said like, well, he is working with a power structure in which he is not absolute, but it's like, I don't know. I don't trust him to like the way that, I don't know. I don't know what people expect to improve other than, I agree he's better with continuity and pacing and like maybe has a better sense of like what the audience might want to see as far as spectacle. Whereas Kathleen Kennedy literally doesn't even give a shit about science fiction. So like when she's watching, like, I don't think she understands why people like Star Wars. Like, I don't think she ever understood it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe she understands why people like movies. Like, honestly, I don't think she's interested in art at all. Whereas Filoni,
it's weird
yeah, go
because
ahead.
she's worked on crazy IPs in earlier in her career, but it does feel like she's kind of just, I don't know, she's just kind of like at the top of a weird pyramid now where like the creative juice is basically spent.
I think she's always been corporate. I think that's always been what she is, and I think she was probably easy enough to work with in the beginning of her career that she kind of got into this position, but I don't think she's got that juice. Like, I think people you know what I mean? Like, because I know like, what's his name who did Iron Man? He directed it. Jon Favreau.
Favreau, yeah.
Like, I know that he's not perfect, but he's got the juice. He's got like this element to his work. You can tell he's really into it at the very least. And even if he makes something bad, I get the sense that he genuinely was enjoying what he was doing.
And he did the first season or two of Mandalorian, didn't he? Wasn't that Favreau?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's a solid director. And he's not a bad writer either. He understands, to some extent, even though I haven't loved everything he's done, but like,
sure.
I would have preferred for him to be in charge, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think he would have taken it.
At this point, yeah, I think it's Dave Filoni obviously would want that because Star Wars is like his whole identity. But Jon Favreau, like he's all over the map. He's
he's bigger than one IP.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping it improves, but like if Filoni's goal is to just like retcon the continuity and fix it, to like clean up the mess and like, duct tape things together so that it's somewhat coherent, I think that's still a losing battle because no matter what, that still gets us from the destruction of the second Death Star to what is essentially the rise of the First Order, which is like the most disappointing.
It's pretty rough.
It's pretty brutal. Like, no matter how you slice it, basically everything they did in the first movie the first trilogy was meaningless because everything is the same. And it's like, if I were them, I know they'll never do this, but they should. I just strip the continuity completely and then start again.
I agree. I think they should just ignore the new trilogy and just write a new one.
Yep. And
But yeah,
it's hard
no.
because, Harrison Ford's not coming back, and Princess Leia has passed on. So like, what do they do? And it's like, if I were them, I would base it. I would base it like 60 or 70 years after the original trilogy, and
Yeah,
just like start with whole new characters and let the legacy characters be this like pleasant memory of the world that they won.
it'd be nice.
And maybe have Luke Skywalker in it as an old Jedi who's lived to be like 200 years old. And that's how
I have
you have Mark Hamill and nobody else, right? Sorry, but go
I have
on.
I have a funny feeling they're either going to go way before and do Old Republic stuff, or they're going to do concurrent and go, here's a story about something that was happening during the original trilogy over here. And
Well,
it's
yeah.
yeah.
But they already did some Old Republic stuff, right? With The Acolyte, the greatest TV show ever made.
Yeah, I never watched it. I had no interest
Have you
based
seen
on
some of the famous clips?
I have, and I said, "Ooh, I'm not going to watch this. This looks like a yeah." It's
Yeah,
very rare. I usually revel in watching terrible shit.
I
I
know.
usually love it, but I had no interest. I was like, "This feels like a job. This feels like I'm gonna have to sit down and clock in,
Yeah. The only
watch
reason to
this."
watch that is if you're one of those channels on YouTube that just spends, like, you make all your money shitting all over Disney, which is like, for anyone else, I don't know why you would do it.
Watch Skeleton Crew out of like morbid curiosity. I was like, "How are they gonna do the Goonies in Star Wars?" And I was like, "Okay, it's like a mixed bag. There's some good stuff here. There's some not good stuff here."
Yeah.
At least it was something new. It was like, okay, we're doing. There's some stuff in there that physically made me cringe at how bad the art direction was, but other than that,
Oh, really? Like
it
what?
was like, dude, they gave them bicycles, like space bike, just to have the Stephen King shot of the kids on bikes. They gave them like everything on that planet they were on, where it was like actual American suburbs, and it looked like a place I could find in like California. And the kids are riding like regular bikes with like little Star Wars engines on them. I was like, this looks. I get that Stranger Things is popular, but like this doesn't feel like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. This
Yeah.
feels like I'm in fucking like Irvine or something. It's like this doesn't feel like space. This is such boring, weird art direction choices. But then, all of the pirate stuff is fucking great in that show. All the pirates look awesome. All the robot shit looks great. Yeah, so it's just very, very mixed bag. It felt like I don't know, like I could see the different teams in real time that were developing everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go with it. Ultimately, Disney is gonna have the final say on everything, so that's not a huge vote of confidence, but
Yeah. Yeah. There's
we'll see.
too much of the same personnel is there. That's why I have such little faith. But I've also been made pretty cynical by so many disappointments. So I hope I'm wrong. I'm going to wait and let everybody else watch this stuff first to tell me.
I'm assuming that Starfleet Academy show is dog shit because the only clip I've seen is Paul Giamatti as an alien going. I think the line is "Payback's a bitch." And I'm like, okay, well, right off the bat, you didn't get the tone right,
Nope.
like immediately.
This is
Very
Starfleet Academy for. This is a new Star Wars show. I didn't even know about this.
It's a new Star Trek show. It's a
Oh, Star
new
Trek. Okay,
Trek.
yes, I
Star
saw.
Trek, yeah,
What I saw from Starfleet Academy was the poster for it.
where they're all laying on the ground looking up at
Yeah,
the sky.
where it
Yeah.
literally looks like it's Friends. And I was like, no, this is not. This is not. It's going to be like. It's going to be a show about relationship drama. That's like.
Yeah, that's what
Which
everybody wants. Everyone's best friends.
well, that's why you watch Star Trek. You watch it to see the love triangles primarily.
Yes,
Everybody knows that. Yeah.
1,000%.
Like that whole thing where Picard is a Borg, and then Riker might have to kill his captain. Boring.
Mhm. That's another thing I love about Deep Space Nine. I guess TNG too
Yeah.
is how many times the characters have to just. I don't know how to word this. How many times across those two shows do one of the main characters become a murderer, and then everybody has to. By the end, everyone's like, "Well, it wasn't up to them. They were possessed or being controlled by XYZ, or a virus made them hyper violent, and now
Yeah.
we're all just going to be best friends again." And it's like, I don't know. Like I watched that episode of DS9 the other day where I think Garrick gets like a Cardassian only virus that makes him kill like 5 people. He like hunts them down like most dangerous game. And then at the end, like by the end of it, it's him and O'Brien with guns, and he's like, "I've always wanted to do this with you, Sergeant. Man on man, tete-a-tete." Like it. And then at the final shot is like Bashir has him in the ER, and he's like, "Oh, it was a pathogen that turns Cardassians into psycho killers. He had no control over his actions." And he's like, "Oh, that's terrible." Anyway, how you feeling, Garrick? And that's it.
Yeah.
He's totally fine. They're all best friends again. Whatever. Yeah, that happened. Moving on. Like they never bring it up again. Remember that time you killed all my friends? Remember that time you brutally murdered like 6 people right in front of me? Oh, we're good.
Why do you think that they did that? Like, why do you think that was a trope that they liked?
I don't know. DS9 actually begins with that. It opens
With
with
Picard?
Picard as the
Yeah.
Borg. And then Cisco comes in and he's like, I wasn't in control. I was a Borg. It's like, well, and then they do that like 12 times
Yeah,
across the
it's
series.
like, oh, I wasn't in control. It's like, oh, well, you still killed my wife. You
Yeah,
very
you
much
killed my
killed
wife, which I do like. That's one of the reasons I like that show so much is he doesn't forgive Picard. He's like, you killed my wife, dude. And he's like, I'll take this post because Starfleet's telling me to, but I don't like you and I'm never going to like you. And there's no resolution to that.
No, and I also like that Picard actually doesn't like. He gets a little awkward, but he actually doesn't give him an apologetic demeanor. Like Picard is like, well, you're going to do what I fucking say because I'm in charge. Like,
Yeah.
it shows the limits of Picard's righteousness where like there's times where at some point he's just a prideful old man that's like doesn't like the fact that you're making him feel bad about something that he doesn't think was his fault.
Mhm.
Which is like, it's nice to see a little flaw there because if he was a perfect person, he would be like extra patient with Cisco. And it's like, he's like, I'm not
Yeah.
patient. This is a job. You lost her. We all lose people, which is funny whenever Picard says that because he's like the only person there with like no family.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like that. I like that. That pilot really got me into the show. That was like, it was awesome.
Or like the episode with Data in TNG when he like goes rogue because like Noonien Soong hacks into him and he assumes Picard's voice and he's like 537674332 lock.
Yeah, yeah.
And he takes over the ship.
It's
And
amazing.
like by the end of the episode, they're just like, I wasn't in control. Noonien Soong hacked into him. They're like, oh, okay, no court martial, no reprimand. No, maybe we're gonna second guess having you on the helm as a person who can be hacked into and commandeer the ship. We're just never gonna talk about
Yeah,
this.
and like a guy who can single-handedly commandeer the ship, where it's
Yes,
like,
he's single and assume the voice of the captain and get through all the security. Like we're just never gonna address that. Just
like, yeah.
welcome back.
we're not going to deal with the fact that you're smarter, stronger, more capable than everybody on the
Yes.
ship, and like complete.
He
Yeah,
single-handedly took over the ship and committed mutiny. But welcome back, buddy. It's good to have you. Like,
are you familiar with the? Are you familiar with the musician famous on YouTube called Pogo?
oh yeah, it's one of my. I listen to Data and Picard
Oh, okay.
on my stream regularly.
Oh,
It's one of my favorites.
That's right. I think you have. I remember that.
Great
I
song.
Absolutely. I love. Have you seen the video? The video is just
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic.
it's gold. Somehow
One
that
of-
guy Pogo, somehow he manages to in different moments look exactly like Data and then look exactly like a young Patrick Stewart. I don't know what he's able to do with his face, but it's like, yeah, no, I love that.
The gold shiny white makeup, whatever color that is.
Yeah, where he's like creepy to look at. No, yeah, I love the part where he does the Picard voice of Data reading all the numbers.
Yeah, 53756.
Like sets
It's
the
great.
music, sets at this great beat, and at the end he goes lock.
Luck. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's
Um,
a great video.
Yeah, but do you think? Okay, if you had to guess which IP, if either of them, is going to be repaired soon, do you think it's going to be Star Trek or Star Wars?
I have more faith in Dave Filoni fixing Star Wars than I do in the people in charge of Star Trek fixing Star Trek. Unless, with one caveat, if they take the people, I didn't watch Picard season 3, but Mike and Jay and Rich said it was very good. If that writing team gets put in charge, because it wasn't the team that did the first 2 seasons, it was a new team. If that team gets given priority, then I think Star Trek will probably be in good hands and be good. But if they get ousted, and it's the guys who wrote, Batman versus Superman and Lost, and I can't remember their names off the top of my head. Damon Lindelof
Yeah, Lindelof, I think, and
and Alex Kurtzman. Yeah,
Kurtzman.
Alex.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Kurtzman.
So if Kurtzman and Lindelof stay in charge of the IP, I have way more faith in Dave Filoni. Even with Disney holding the reins, I have way more faith in that. I have zero faith in Alex Kurtzman to create anything entertaining.
Yeah, he is.
Um,
He is. It's amazing to me when I use, because I'm a brown man, right? And yeah, you don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm a man of color, and
I'm waiting. I can't wait.
and I see him like putting out. I don't follow him on social media anymore because I just realized how bad he was at his job. But he would put out stuff talking about like white privilege in the industry, and I was like, brother, you are that. Like you have not earned your
Yeah.
position. Like don't lecture me about it when you're the guy who shouldn't be at the job he's at. Like you literally you
Yeah.
nepotized your way into. He's a terrible. He doesn't even like. Do you know why? Oh my God! So many things I talked about on Red Letter Media. Of like, I'm sure you saw this where there's all these like weird robot suits in Star Trek simply because Alex Kurtzman really likes Iron Man, and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It's like those nightmare stories you hear about the Kevin Smith Superman pitch, where he's like, "What's the most dangerous predator in nature? It's a spider. Put a spider in the movie because I like it as a producer."
Yeah. Oh, I love those stories. I don't know how much of those stories I can believe because I think Kevin Smith is he's a very like, he's a big fish kind of storyteller. But I believe that should happen for sure.
I believe it because of Wild Wild West, which was the next movie that guy made, and the giant spider. And
Yeah.
then when the Superman, Man of Steel came out, it wasn't a spider, but it looked like a spider. The like weird terraforming robot things.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
apparently,
okay.
that producer, I forget his name. Apparently, he had such a bad reputation that Christopher Nolan, to help out his friend Zack Snyder, he made a rule that producer was not allowed on set during production because
Yeah, I can see why.
every time he was involved, he would just start trying to take over and make terrible decisions, and everybody like hated working with him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. He was the cheering voice for get rid of the underpants on the outside of the pants thing. He was trying to do that with Kevin Smith like 20 years before that movie got made.
I had heard that he didn't even want him to be in costume at all; that he wanted him to
Hmm?
wear all black.
Yeah, I heard that too, which was very funny.
He denies it, but I kind of believe it.
No, I believe it
He
100%.
said,
Any interview I've watched with that guy, I'm like, this guy does not know anything about anything. This guy
Yeah.
is just, he's here because he knew Barbara Streisand. He was like her hairdresser or something.
"Oh, that's funny." That's why he
And then
That's why he overcompensates with all the stories about how he's been in fights.
yeah, he like made a bunch of money off of being like Barbara Streisand's like hair guy. And then he bought in his way into being a producer. He like bought the rights to a bunch of things. So now if you want to make those things, you have to go through him. It's like such a weird, archaic Hollywood holdover of like who gets what say. Very, very, very strange. But yeah, those stories are hilarious.
You've seen the stories with the concept artist on Superman, the one that was never made.
Yep.
Superman Lives, and they're saying how he would literally just come in and bully them and beat them up
Hmm.
because he would want to show off his fighting moves. And they were like, he's like, "You're beating up a bunch of concept artists. That's not hard." They're like, "Go, like, why are you bullying us? We're like, we draw for a living. We're not tough guys."
No,
Like,
he's a huge badass.
yeah,
He's
no,
he's very impressive. He's a huge badass.
yeah. Even in the
Oh,
interview with him, he's like, "I've been in over 300 fights," and I was like, "Oh my God."
I have won none of them.
What also makes
Uh,
me laugh because it's like, my buckle up kids, daddy's going to talk about boxing again. But like,
There we go.
but when I was a boxing coach, you could smell a guy like that from like 2 blocks away. Like when he
Oh
comes,
yeah,
you're like, oh, you are absolute like milk toast. You're going to get
you're
pounded
just
into
a
the.
try hard. Like yeah, the worst.
You
Oh
could always
man.
tell who the toughest guys were because they were always the ones who like did not care at all about coming across as tough, like remotely.
Because they were secure in their fucking toughness. Like, yeah, yeah, they didn't need to fucking peacock it from the rooftop.
But yeah, well,
Oh,
that documentary was frustrating because it was like, wow, we could have had a really interesting Superman movie in the 90s if not for this fucking guy. But
it's okay. We got 3 seconds of it at the end of the Flash movie when Nicolas Cage CG shows up.
you watched it.
I did not. I only watched the ending
Okay.
because I heard it was so insanely bad, and I went, okay.
Yeah. I saw
When I
parts of
heard
that.
Adam West was in it, I had to. I was like, Adam West's in it? Okay.
I don't know. For me, the last real role of Adam West was on 30 Rock. I don't know if you remember that,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
where he appears at himself and he's like, I was promised a meal if I showed up at this party.
He is best when he plays himself.
Amazing. He's so funny. Yeah, I miss him. I miss him all the time.
People with that kind of delivery, like him and Leslie Nielsen, who like played it straight, like just said ridiculous things without doing a funny voice. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Have you seen the new Naked Gun? Because Liam Neeson did a pretty good job.
I have not. I've been saving it, but I heard it was very good.
It's pretty funny. I mean, like, I consider you to be would you say professional comedian, a comedic writer. You don't do stand
I
up.
would not say I'm a professional comedian. I would say I do a pretty good job making fun of Dungeons and Dragons. That's about it.
Well, I mean, like when I read
Uh,
Steve Lichtman, it's like this is like professional comedy writing. Really, I mean, I know that it's not the same as being a comedian per se.
I can say that I wrote a comedy TV show that never got made. I guess I could. That's as far as I'd go. Yeah, but continue.
Well, because the reason I say that is like you might have a harsher judge of the new Naked Gun than other people, because it's like people who are, as I was saying, professionally funny are going to be a little more perhaps difficult to please.
The only joke I saw was him and Pamela Anderson talking about his ex-wife, and I thought that was great. The tone of that was great.
I don't remember. Can you tell me what they're saying?
Oh God, what was the joke? It ended up being like a football joke about like what position or something, and he made like I can't even remember what it is, but the deadpan reaction of Pamela Anderson, like that's the thing they nailed, is that both of them are acting like they're in a drama.
Yeah, no, it's parts of it genuinely like I was cackling like crazy, like where he's in the interrogation room, and I think it's in the trailer where he says it says here, according to your record, you did 10 years for man's laughter. He's like, that's manslaughter.
Yeah.
Because that's manslaughter. He's like, must have been a hell of a joke.
Yeah,
It's just cute, stupid jokes like that. Like kind of
yeah, it's great.
Zucker Brothers-esque. But yeah,
I don't think
I thought it was
I
charming.
don't think anything will ever top the $20 bill scene for me in anything. That's probably the funniest joke I've ever seen on screen in anything.
Is that where they keep handing the money back and forth during the bribe?
Yeah, yeah. He's like, "What do you know about this guy?" "I don't know. Make it a lunch." "Okay, how about now?" And he gives him the $20. He goes, "He was down at the docks." And he goes, "What docks?" He goes, "I don't know." And then he gives him back the $20 bill, and then they just keep passing it back and forth,
Yeah.
interrogating each other.
Well, one of the reasons
It's
I love
very
that bit
good.
is that it feels like something out of like Who's on First. Like it's got like really great
Oh, it's great.
classic old school. Yeah, it's great.
It's timeless. It is a timeless joke. It's just funny to anyone anywhere in history.
That's true.
But
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't need a lot of
great.
cultural context to understand why that's funny.
Nope, it's just if you're familiar with any kind of authority or money, that joke is funny. That's the only. If you know what a cop is and you know what a dollar is, that joke is hilarious.
Yeah, no, there's some great stuff in the new one. Like I remember in theaters, like I hearing people laugh in a theater was like, oh, it's been a while since I just heard people like just enjoying a silly, stupid comedy in a movie theater, because there's been so few comedies over the years.
Yeah, very few.
And I think some of it's because the culture we live in is kind of taking itself too damn seriously now.
Yeah, there's not enough box office return on them either. Like even the huge comedies like Anchorman didn't touch what, the Marvel movies or something made.
Yeah. Well, some of it's also because the actors are getting so damn expensive now.
Right.
Like someone was talking about that movie Fall Guy, which I don't know if you saw it.
No.
It's a solid action comedy. It's a cute movie with some good laughs and some fun scenes in it. It's not perfect, but it's like it was a nice diversion. My wife and I, we liked it, and I found that it flopped. And then we looked at the movie did a shit ton of money, but it was still a flop. And it was like, how? And I looked, it's because like Ryan Gosling and what's her face, the leading lady in it, the one who's married to John Krasinski. They both are just so expensive. Like
Yeah. It's
millions,
insane.
like tens of millions for an
Tens
actor
of
to just
millions, yeah.
it's like, well, of course. And then you get the advertising budget, which probably balloons up because you're advertising using these. So I just think if the industry wants to survive, there's a good chance they're going to need to, like, actors are going to have to have
Be interesting to
two less
see how
yachts.
much money. Be interesting to see how much money Doomsday has to make to break even, because I think Robert Downey Jr.'s contract is $50 million per movie.
How can anybody in good conscience take that much money?
It's crazy, dude.
I can't
think
even. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I want, and that's one of the 20 A-list actors: Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, fucking Chris Evans. Everyone is in this movie, and like, how much money does this movie have to fucking make? Hugh
Honestly,
Jackman's in it. Everyone's in it.
it must be $1 billion production, right?
More than that, the
Yeah.
first Avengers was $1 billion.
Was it really? I didn't even know that.
Got like 5 people in that movie made $1 billion, and they're like, "Oh, a big success." And it's like this movie is gonna have to make like 4 or 5 billion.
Wow. Well, if it collapses Disney, maybe Star Wars will revert back to public domain or something. I know it's not going to happen. If Civilization collapses as a result, it'll be like the fall of Rome. Like nobody knows what to do with themselves, and we form like
If
a.
this movie bombs with this many people in it, it's going to be a generational thing people talk about. This is like, it's almost too big to fail.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
But
It's gonna be like Hello Dolly killing the musical.
yeah, it's going to be nuts. I think it would actually be, that's a really good parallel, what you just said. I think
Yeah.
it would be that. I think it would be, oh, this is just over now. We're just going back to indie films for 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna make westerns for the next 20 years to
Yeah,
which I personally wouldn't mind. But
that'd be nice.
yeah, I love a good western, which is how we started this
Oh.
whole podcast today.
It's true, which is why, unfortunately, now I have to bow out and go babysit. But
Okay.
that's a good poetic ending. Put a bow on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we are. But always a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Yeah, man, you have a good one. And the minute you leave, I'm going to look down at my feet like Doc Holliday, and I'm going to go, "It's funny." And I'm just going to die.
If you gotta go, that's the way to go.
Go like Kilmer. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well,
Okay, man.
I love you. See you later.
Love you too, buddy. Bye.
Bye. Well, everyone, there you have it. I am here with you, the chat. Welcome. I'm going to put on some music. How y'all doing? What's up, Artie? Johnny? I agree, Broken Blade. Star Trek is dead. It is, the only way for it to be revived again would be to erase a bunch of continuity, and they're not going to do any of that stuff. They're just not going to do it. Guys, I'm on like the last maybe 5 pages of this book. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This thing is almost ready to put out. I got to do the lettering afterwards, but I'm going to be hiring somebody for that. And usually he's done in like a couple of weeks, really. I'm going to be hopping off in a few minutes because we've already been on over an hour. But but I'm so glad that I got to talk to Dan and I got to see you guys. between my many poops of the day. Pray for me. Pray for my stomach. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a bug. Is any doctors in the chat? Reach out to me. I could use your help. We'll see if my insurance covers you. But like on the bright side, look at how handsome Black Marrow looks here. This is like... He's looking pretty dashing right there. Thanks, baby. Yeah, the music does fit the vibe of the page because this is like... You guys want to see some of the pages I finished? So here is the... I'm going to cover that. I don't want to spoil the ending of this scene, but there's a double spread with some cool... you know, actually, I got to change this. You gotta be careful because sometimes Black Marrow, his flesh looks too brown where it just looks like human flesh. And what you want is for it to look like fur. So I tend to go more gray. Because if it's brown, then it ends up reading as just like a guy who is brown. Like it's just not, it's just very normal. And you want it to look, there you go. That's what, yeah. I'm more and more, I'm making it like just a slightly brownish gray because I really want it to read as fur. There you go. Now let me quickly save this. Hold on a second, guys, while I do this. Sorry. I gotta re-upload it. Can't be giving out all my private information. Excuse me. I gotta do that. I gotta do it on this page too, because I think the page following has the same problem. Just hold on. Hold on, everybody. How are you guys doing today, man? How is everybody?
I'm Comet, I'm Cupid, I'm Donner, I'm Blitzen. To the top of the roof, to the top of the wall. Here they come and they say Merry Christmas to all.
Okay. Sorry, this is taking a bit of a minute, but I'm done now. Okay, so here's another page I finished today. Just knocking these pages out. And that brings us to this one. How cold is a Texas cold front, Broken Blade? Really, though? So, as much as I love Black Marrow and I've enjoyed working on it, when this is done, I'm actually really looking forward to doing some other stuff. So, really looking forward to working on Knights of Camelot, and then my Pantheon book, which I'm thinking about all the time, both of them. This is Christmas music, though. We can't do that. Christmas has ended. We must do something else. Here, I'll do something upbeat to give me energy after it's been taken away by awful diarrhea. So I promise I will stop talking about my stomach bug. Eventually I'll move on to something else in life. This is page 69, just FYI, guys. I was saying it at first to be like, look at how many pages I've done, but then I realized it was the page 69, and that's gonna get that's good. You can't, if you grew up in the early 2000s, you can't talk about that without making a face. No, it's gonna. So Pantheon is very different. BB's asking, will it be similar to Dead Gods? No, it's yeah, Dead Gods. That's like his Matt Rhodes is doing like something. It's like ancient futurism kind of thing. It's really cool. No, Pantheon is that poster I did. That poster I did with all those like Silver Age superheroes, where it looks like kind of like a. Somebody said it reminded them of Alex Ross. Not saying they're right. I'm just saying someone said it, and that stuck to my ribs. That's Pantheon. If you don't remember what I'm talking about, let me know. I'll bring it up on screen for you. So you remember, okay, yeah, so Pantheon is a story that I was hoping to do years ago, and after working on Black Marrow and really getting better at drawing, frankly, I feel like I'm ready to do it. But it's yeah, it's going to be this whole, it's like, it's going to be the first, technically it's science fiction thing that I'm doing for Black Marrow Comics, because everything else has been fantasy. Because it's based in the future, but it's like a retro 1950s future with like superheroes and robots and stuff. It's a very different vibe than something like this. It's gonna be very like, not to say that Black Marrow isn't kind of wholesome, but yeah, Pantheon's gonna be very like very bit of wholesome nostalgia, optimism, very sort of Gene Roddenberry, vibes, but on a different scale, because Gene Roddenberry was probably not very into Americana. But I am, so like I don't think he would have liked a 1950s style future, but So I'm really looking forward to that because so many ideas, and I'm also just looking forward to drawing that. I'm sure my wife is going to be really excited that I'm going to be taking some time off from monsters. Or at least time off from this many monsters, because I feel like I'm probably still going to have monsters in everything I draw. But yeah, Knights of Camelot is the next one, as you guys know, and that's something that I talk with Dan a lot about, is the Knights of Camelot stuff, because he's a big fan of that lore. Also, in a couple of years, Solomon Kane hits public domain, so that's something I really want to do, is like some sort of Solomon Kane book. Welcome back, Johnny. Oh my goodness, you're right, Broken Blade! If Solomon Kane is in the public domain in a couple of years, there's no reason that I couldn't do a crossover. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm just thinking about it now, how much fun that would be. The only problem I think with it might be that the two characters are so similar. Which was not my intention, because I actually had not really read Solomon Kane until I started doing Black Marrow, and then I started seeing that there were all these similarities, and it was like I felt this incredible kinship with Robert E. Howard, where I was like, oh, we're interested in the same stuff, this is crazy, you know? But now in retrospect, yeah, they're very similar to the point where it's like, got to give them a little bit of conflict between the two of them. But I would absolutely do a crossover, that'd be so fun. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that they're so alike that they can't stand each other. Because like they're both like demon hunting travelers who are also both like staunchly like religious types. Like literally they're both Protestants, I believe. Because isn't Solomon Kane? He's like a Puritan, which I believe is Protestant. It has to be by definition. And then even though I myself am Catholic, I always thought Black Mara would probably be a Protestant because he's like very much Old West America, which is like there's not a Catholic in sight. It's like all, Lutherans and Baptists and Methodists and stuff. So even that they wouldn't necessarily disagree on. No, Solomon Kane was written by Robert E. Howard. Wait, is that a joke? Edgar Rice Burroughs. Well, what did Edgar Rice Burroughs write? I can't tell if you're messing with me, Johnny, because I don't remember. I know Edgar Rice Burroughs, but I always forget what he worked on. I'm sad that you think I'm messing with you. Oh, he wrote Tarzan. Right, okay, yes. The only reason I asked is because I couldn't remember if Edgar Rice Burroughs was like a playwright or if he wrote pulp fiction. But he was a pulp writer, got it. Yeah, no, that was Robert E. Howard who wrote Solomon Kane. He also did Conan the Barbarian. I do get this question a lot, how to draw faster. I have answered it before, you're right, but I also don't know that I've ever really come up with a good answer because I don't really know. I don't really know what the solution is. Like I've always been someone who moves quickly through drawings, and it's gotten faster over the years because I did so much, client work where I needed to get it paid and working on storyboards, things. I think a really good way to do it would probably be to accept the flaws of a drawing and move on to the next one and just do a lot of them. I think, I don't know. I mean, you don't have to work super fast to get good work in this industry, though. I don't want you to think that that's like the secret, because it really, that's a bad message to put out to artists. I did, but that's also because I chose a path that was not the most lucrative, I mean, look at Dan. Dan, who was just on here, he's had an incredible career. He's gotten to work on all this stuff, all the big IPs and movies, and and he's not fast. He said, he's joked about it many times that he's very, very slow, and he's had an incredible career. So I don't think you need to be fast to. He said he's had a way better career than his career is like way ahead of mine. And think about the difference in how fast we are. Like I'm a blur, and yet I haven't had that same type of. So like it's not about speed. It can be for certain professions. Like if you want to be a storyboardist, and in some cases a comic artist, although some comic artists are very slow. So yeah, I would say I don't put too much pressure on yourself, but I do think for me, drawing fast came from drawing so goddamn much, drawing just so freaking much that you just sorry, yawn. You just start doing faster, whether or not you even mean to, Some of it was already that I was impatient, but a lot of it was also like I was. Like for this comic, it's like I have a process that I kind of stick to, pencils, inks, colors, pencils, inks, colors. It's high volume of drawing will. You know what it's a lot like? It's like in fitness, like when people talk about the kipping pull-up versus the static pull-up. For anybody who knows, like a strict pull-up is like you dead hang from the bar and then you slowly get your chin over the bar using your arms and back in a perfect. And then a kipping pull-up is when you use momentum to get over the bar. And they're both good. They both do things for you. But the thing with the kipping pull-up is that you don't learn how to do a kipping pull-up. Really, you just do pull-ups until that you just start moving faster and faster, and it becomes kipping. And that's kind of, it's like you don't even realize you're doing it. Gonna have to change that hand. There you go. Looks a little better. Yeah, to some extent, it's trusting yourself, but it's also just like you just keep drawing so damn much that you just move faster. But I don't know. I feel like this is why I could never really be an art instructor, is because I don't know if I could be a teacher or professor, because I don't know. There are certain things that just happened and I don't know how they happened. Like I when I was a kid, even I would just, I mean, I was not that good relative to, now, but like many of you, I had some proclivity, some propensity for drawing. And even then I would draw really fast. I was always just like, and some of the work was like, whatever, it wasn't great even for my age necessarily. I don't know, but I just kept doing it faster. And that's why I'm fast now. So I don't know if that's, I don't know if it's helpful, because it's like, yeah, I'll think about it though. I'll think about it. Maybe if I can find some interesting info that I concur with, I'll bring that up. I'll bring it up on the Discord. I'll show you. I'll see what other artists say. People more experienced in instruction, But all right, guys, that's gonna be it for today. I love you. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Later, Johnny. Later, Artie. Sebastian, thanks for showing up, man. Later, guys. Later, Broken Blade.